Welcome to the Level Up Your Band podcast, episode 4. Hello.
Hey, what's up?
This is Gavin Patterson, and I'm here with my glamorous co-host.
You don't even know if I look glamorous or not.
Sporting a lovely black beanie today.
Yeah.
Julian Pombo.
Hello. How's it going?
What is that black thing you're wearing?
This will probably come into play in another podcast, but an important part of being a musician is that you stay fit and healthy mentally and physically. So I've started practicing karate. So this is my club's like emblem.
Oh,
Yeah.
didn't know that.
It's also an incredibly comfortable beanie. I absolutely love it.
Yeah, I don't wear beanies. I don't wear hats.
I've started wearing hats more since I cut my hair really short and my head gets cold now. So until my hair grows back in.
Yeah, you usually have a big mop top, so.
Yeah.
So today we're going to be talking about rehearsals and practice and that sort of thing. So the last couple of weeks we've been talking about songwriting and...
We touched on rehearsing and that a little bit.
Yeah. So we want to talk about what happens when you have your song, you have your songs, and you have your band, or if you're a solo artist, what do you do once you have your songs? What should you do to get them up to the performance level? So, if you're in a band, we'll do this from the context of a band because that's kind of what we're all about. Home practice first before coming into the studio.
It sounds stupidly simple, but you need to practice at home.
Yeah.
You need to be good at your instrument, and you need to understand it. Because the more you understand it, the better an experience you'll have as a musician playing in a band, and the more successful your band will be. And I'm sure you have a lot of experiences with musicians that have just come in to record, and you'd think it was their first time playing the
tune,
the tune, or even the instrument.
Yeah, I can't count how many times the bassist doesn't know the key of the song.
It makes me sad
or
that
the
it's
chords.
bass players.
It's always bass players. I don't know why this is.
Yeah.
It's Glenn Fricker's right. If anyone follows Glenn Fricker,
Yeah.
I'm not gonna quote rule number 2. So the
Bass player is useless. That's basically
that's the premise. Yeah.
Yeah.
So before turning up to rehearsal, you've got to get the home practice in. You can't just turn up and practice the song with the band and it's the first time you've ever played it. You've got to have a run through before you get into the studio.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you're just wasting everyone else's time.
In fact, that could be another episode probably.
Oh,
like, how
be.
do you practice by yourself? We'll definitely touch on that because that in itself is a much bigger subject.
Oh, yeah.
Julian
is a teacher. He does tuition. So he probably has more to say.
I teach people how to practice, basically.
Yeah. I did teaching maybe 10 years ago, but I got out of it. Just I didn't have enough time. But yeah, I know a little bit. I've maybe had 6 or 7 students ever.
Yeah.
So I know a little bit, but not as much as you do. So it's preparation before coming in the studio to rehearse. Getting all the important stuff thought about before you get into the studio, like, we're going to be rehearsing a song today. We kind of played it last week. I was going to go away and practice the solo, or there's a lead part that the rhythm guitarist said I was going to take. I better learn that before I get back into the studio because I don't want to make a fool of myself.
Yeah.
And just waste everyone's time.
Yeah, exactly. Especially in some studios where time is literally money. You know, if you think about it, a lot of studios tend to charge by the hour. Is that right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Most places tend to do that.
Usually in 3-hour blocks if you're in Glasgow. I think, well,
And that's for rehearsals.
I've not been to a rehearsal studio in a long time. It used to be about 28 quid for 3 hours.
Yeah, and then in some, like when you actually go into record in a studio, it can be like £10, £30 an hour, or like if you're in Abbey Road, it's like £70 or
no, it's £600 a song.
It's £600 a song, right? So that's how they do it. Yeah. Somewhere that I know, which I will not disclose,
or a day. Sorry, no, £600 a day.
Yeah,
I actually looked at this recently.
£600 a day. It can be, so that's like a day is like 10 hours, isn't it?
Yeah, it's like 9 till 5 or something like that.
Yeah. So you're working at around £60 an hour.
Yeah. You don't want to spend 2 hours
you don't want to spend exactly. You don't want to spend £120 doing nothing.
Yeah. So when you have done your home practice and you kind of know what you're doing, you just need to play it with your group, your band. You get into the studio. Say you turn up at Berkeley and you get your gear in, and then you kind of set up, you go for a coffee, you have a wee chat, and you get ready. So to keep things moving along in the rehearsal, you don't want to be spending your first 45 minutes chatting about the football at the weekend or
catching up with everybody.
Like, you're there to rehearse. I mean, by all means, take the first 10 minutes, 15 minutes to just get yourself comfy, set up, go for a coffee from the vending machines, go for a pee.
Get ready.
Get ready. Like,
exactly.
Nobody likes to just go straight, like, plug in, play. I mean, if you want to do that, you do that. But
exactly. Whatever works.
Easing into it's probably a lot better, because you're talking about musicians with feelings and emotions.
Yes,
and
human beings.
Yeah. Take it chill and easy. And the most important thing about rehearsal, I think, is getting your sound right at the start through the PA system.
That's true. Yeah.
Spend some time at the beginning getting your sound right. So you can ruin an entire rehearsal if your sound isn't right. So there's probably loads of you are very familiar with this, of coming into a rehearsal studio and the drummer is banging the absolute out the drums. The guitarist has turned his amp up full and he's just
all the way to 11.
He's just playing solos and tapping, and you're trying to sound check the vocals and you just can't hear anything.
And then you're just the wee guy just trying to tune your bass. It's happened to me so many times.
Yeah,
I cannot count how many times it's happened.
Yeah,
and you have to sometimes speak up and just go, "Excuse me, can you stop?"
So the first thing to get right when you're sound checking is the vocals. If you have a vocals.
Yeah, if you have a vocalist, let's be real.
If you have a singist, make sure that the vocals are sounding clear through the PA system, nice and loud, not feeding back. Make sure they can hear themselves in the monitors, if they have monitors in the studio. Yep. And if you don't know how to work any of the gear, go and ask.
Yep.
Just, I don't know how to work that. I'll be fine. No, make sure that the band plays to the volume that the singer is singing at, not the other way around. Don't build up the band and then try and add the vocals on top, because 9 times out of 10 you'll turn a band up really loud and then you'll push that vocal fader up and then it'll start squealing because it's too loud.
It's happened so many times.
Start the other way round.
Yeah, where we've been rehearsing and the guitarist is like obsessed with having the whole thing really loud, and I'm like, we kind of don't need to. We're just practicing. We need to be able to hear all of our parts. I want to be able to, wear earplugs and also hear everything clearly, not wear earplugs and everything is just a big mess.
Yeah, message for guitarists. No one is interested in listening to your G chord. They're there to see the vocalist. They're there to hear what the vocalist is saying. That's the most important part of it. Your G chord is just there to back them up. And if your G chord is louder than the vocalist, then you're doing your job wrong.
Just like the drum beat is also there to back it up, and
Yeah, exactly.
the bass is there to back everything. And
It's accompaniment. It's not the lead unless you are taking a solo. In that case, you are the lead in that instance.
And there's pedals made for that, called boost pedals.
Yeah, exactly.
Which make you louder. So take that into consideration. Lead doesn't always need to be loud. Anyway.
Yeah, and like I said, if you don't know how to use a basic PA mixer, then you can always ask the staff at the rehearsal studio.
They'll know.
And see, to be honest, those desks, most of them are just analog desks. They're really simple. You can learn how to use them through a few YouTube tutorials.
Yeah.
Just learn about basic gain, volume, what's the difference between the two, what does pan mean, EQ, reverb. That's basically all you need to know.
Yeah, and once you know all that, then well done. You know how to use every mixer that is out there.
Pretty much, yeah.
Including digital ones, because digital ones are kind of based on analog ones anyway.
They're the same, except they're programmable.
The programming is a little different, yeah. But fundamentally, they've still got faders programmed in.
Yeah.
And all of that. So
yeah, there's no reason to be playing, rehearsing and not having a good sound. It shouldn't hold you back. You want to try and create the path of least resistance. You want things to be as easy as possible so you can just focus on the music and rehearse the actual music instead of faffing about with a squealing vocal. So, next thing. So you've got your song. Say the guitarist wrote a song, he's got the lyrics, he's got the chords and stuff, and you're arranging as a band in the studio. First time, right? Everyone's heard it on Dropbox. They've all shared the Dropbox links.
They've all learned it.
Everyone's heard it. They've kind of I'll kind of make this drum beat for it. Oh yeah, this bass line will maybe go well with that. Whatever he was playing. So they kind of come in and they just generically play through the song, and it's okay, right? Okay, it's just a band playing over the top of someone playing acoustic guitar. It's just to try and hash out the song and see where we're going. So what happens next in that step depends on what the songwriter was wanting. Does he want it to be a clean sounding song or a heavy sounding song, or does he want it to be swung like a shuffle? Does he want it to be slower or faster? And depending on how the band is set up, there might be suggestions by different people. And I would say, if you're new to this, don't be afraid to make suggestions, because no idea is necessarily a bad idea. And that you might think it's really daft and stupid, but there might be some people who might like that idea, and it's worth trying. Because if you're trying to create something new, anything's up for grabs. Like we experience this in our own band, where all we have is a tune.
Yeah,
we don't even have lyrics. We just have a tune. Sometimes not even chords. We'll just have literally a tune.
This abstract collection of sounds.
Yeah, and then it's up to us to interpret it in our different ways.
Yeah,
Julian is a jazz musician, so he'll
I
have
always
so
drop
many,
in on my background. Yeah,
jazzy stuff. It's playing what you know.
Yeah.
And each member of the band will bring their own thing to it. But again, I would say that the final decision, if there's maybe conflict, like, oh, we should go this way, we should go that way, the original tune writer or songwriter kind of has the most say, I would say. What would you think about that?
Yeah, it totally depends on how you want to run your band. It's up to you if you want to be completely democratic in the way you run it. But at the end of the day, the composer should have agency over their tune, because they will have some kind of vision in mind. And it may be that you suggest something and then that will alter their vision and make them think about it differently. Yeah. And sometimes, they will have thought really hard about it and go, no, that's not what I want. for my piece of music, So,
Mhm.
yeah, I mean, ultimately, I think if you want a definite answer, then yeah, the composer, the originator of the tune should have agency over what happens to it.
Yeah.
But just because you have agency doesn't give you an excuse to be completely stubborn and deflect ideas left and right,
Right. See, that's what I was going to ask, because I've experienced this before, where the songwriter, get a band together, and they have written the drum part, written the bass part, written the guitar parts, and it's really good. Like, and the vision and the direction is clear, and it's well executed. Like, everything's really good.
Yeah.
But there's been members in the band that aren't happy with this because they don't feel as if they're creating anything. They're just interpreting what the guy writes.
Well, it totally depends on, that depends on your band members as well. Sometimes you just need to be clear with them and just say, this is my project and this is my vision, and
Yeah.
I want to have 100% control over it. In which case, and they know that and they're happy with that and they understand that, then that's fine. What usually happens, I think, is that bands, get together, people meet up and create a band, and they start off all thinking that they're equals or that they're independently running the band, because there isn't that communication there. So you need to basically drop. What I'm saying is that you need to drop your egos and you need to converse and communicate and talk, because that is the other. That's a part of music that I think that's the difference between a successful band and an unsuccessful band. If I think about it, and I've been in bands that have been in both situations where I thought that I had some agency in the direction of the band, and I wasn't, and then I was unhappy because I didn't know, and then I ended up leaving, and I've joined bands fully knowing. In fact, I'm in a band fully knowing that this isn't my vision. This is somebody else, and I'm there to help them create that vision. But I'm not. Do you know what I mean?
You're like a session musician.
I'm a session musician.
Anyone could step into your job and just do it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's the thing.
Yeah.
So
there's good things and bad things.
There's good things and bad things about that. Yeah, but you need to just have like a good, honest, open conversation
from the outset,
and actually establish that from the get-go, because that is really the difference. Because if everybody's on the same page and everybody understands their role, then everybody's happy.
Yeah, exactly.
For the most part.
It's that whole thing. Uncommunicated expectations is the killer of all human relationships. That's anything from like love interests or bands or any friendships even. Is if your expectations are uncommunicated to your friend, your partner, your wife, your whatever, that's when things break down. Because say, for example, it's Valentine's Day coming up. So that shows you when we're recording this podcast. It's coming up soon, and your spouse says,
or partner or whatever.
I don't really want anything this year, not too bothered. And then the other person says, okay, that's fine. And then they don't bother. But in the head of the other person, I really do hope they get me, something. But they don't communicate it. And then Valentine's Day comes in. Did you not get me a gift? What's this? Well, you said you didn't.
Well, you said you didn't want anything.
Yeah, I know I said that, but I can't believe you. Because there was a breakdown in communication and expectations. Like there was an unspoken expectation from someone, and that's where relationships break down. So you need to be much more forthcoming with your expectations when you start the band. When you start the band, if you say it's your vision, I write all the songs, I've got all the parts written out. Now, if there's a couple of wee bits here and there that if you guys want to add this in, that's fine. But at the end of the day, I've got the structures of the songs down. It's my way or the highway, essentially. If you're not happy, on you go, I'll get someone else in. Or this is a creative endeavor. I have a song, but it's totally up to you guys. We can all change it. And you've got to lay down these sort of ground rules before.
Exactly.
Otherwise, you'll just all fall out.
Yep.
And you'll break up. We've seen that thousands of times.
All the time. Tale as old as time has happened so many times.
And it's almost always because of uncommunicated expectations.
Yep.
So we'll move on to a very important and annoying thing. A thing that annoys me the most is folk turning up that haven't changed their strings, need to get new sticks for their, drumsticks. They spend 10 quid on some electric guitar strings or get a new tattoo. So when you're playing your song, they're playing away, they play a chord up the neck and it's like almost a semitone sharp because their strings are so old. Like
sometimes their guitars, they aren't even set up right.
Yeah.
Like,
Get basically instrument maintenance and just repairs.
Take care of your instrument like you would take care of yourself.
Yeah.
I think you can actually see that with a lot of people. Like I've met people that, I think it kind of reflects what kind of person you are. Like if you don't take care of your possessions, you don't take care of your instrument, for example, and you're like, oh, just leave the strings on, they're fine. They've not broken or anything, they still work.
No, you need to get that little layer of dead skin for that tone, man.
That patina, yeah.
Yeah, we're like hardcore punk. Like you need that sort of rubber band sound that you get from dead skin covered strings.
Totally depends on the strings or whatever you're.
It's not true. Electric guitar strings need changed all the time.
Yeah, electric guitar strings need changed. Bass, I have a different philosophy on that.
Yeah, they take longer.
You can get away with, but I'm not that long. In my experience, if I've been gigging a bass for a wee while, I change strings roughly every 2-3 months now. And that's big, but that's for gigging. Like if I'm going to be recording, I always change my strings the night before. Yeah. Keep them nice and fresh. Make sure they're all stretched out, ready to go. That's important
because if you don't, you'll have tuning issues all day.
See if you've not, and the other thing as well, it's not just there's lots of little setup tricks that you can learn. And unless you're a total master and you're really confident, then go for it. Set up your own guitar, but take your guitar in for a routine checkup. It doesn't hurt. Once a year, just take it into the shop, pay however much it is.
It's not much.
It's not much. 70 quid sometimes. Like it depends on it'll all depend on like how much needs done. It's just a little routine thing of like here, just make sure everything works.
An MOT.
Exactly. It's just like an MOT on a car. And you've just reminded me that my MOT for my Mazda is coming up, and oh no, my car's old. Yeah.
So, I've managed to get 11 years this April out of my drums. 11 years old, and not that set. We're currently in my studio, and he's looking at my practice kit, which is like a 50 quid Session Pro from I don't know how old that thing is. It's barely a drum kit.
Yeah, it's quite crusty looking, not gonna lie.
But it actually kind of sounds good sometimes.
It depends on the music.
If you're going for that kind of lo-fi,
trashy
drums, yeah. But yeah, I've managed to get over 10 years and out of that drum kit, my Tama, and there's barely a mark on it because I invested in hard cases. About every 5 years, I replace all of the tom heads. You don't need to replace them as much. I probably should do it more, but it's very expensive, and there isn't much of a difference. If you leave them on for 10 years, yeah, you need to update you need to refresh your heads. But my snare head, I think I change it every 6 months.
Yeah.
Always keep your snare head fresh. I've seen some people come in and all the coating is just gone, and it's down to the bottom ply.
Yeah, it's just the skin's totally dented.
It sounds terrible. Like the tone you get off it is you get all sorts of rings and buzzes and all sorts of stuff. Just freshen it up. It's only £15.
Yeah.
Sticks as well.
Yeah.
You're not going to get the same whack. You're not going to get the same sound. And even just to play, when you're chipping away at your sticks all day, that actually loses mass because of all the sawdust and wood that comes off of them.
Yeah.
The balance is all off. Your playing will be off because you're playing with sticks that are lighter than they need to be. You'll notice when you buy new sticks, it's like, whoa, these are so heavy. That's just because they're new. And you get a much better sound and a better feel with new sticks. And guitar strings as well, like you were saying. Electric guitar strings especially. I think the Dario from Eriska, he changes his strings every 2 gigs.
Wow.
He is constantly replacing strings because strings are awful. They're so bad. They rust so quickly. As soon as you take them out the packet, they're already rusting.
It's because they're quite thin as well,
and you're touching them with your big sweaty fingers, and they just immediately rust, and the tone changes so quickly.
Acoustic guitar strings, especially, because the tone is so dependent on the tone of the guitar is so dependent on the strings, and the way that the wood reacts to the strings as well. With an electric instrument, you don't have to worry about that as much. It will make a difference. But yeah.
So, moving on. Your actual rehearsal schedule.
Oh, yeah.
So I would say if you want to be fully prepared for a gig, or you're writing new tunes, or you're preparing to come into the recording studio to record these songs, it is so crucially important to have regular rehearsal. Whether it's weekly or twice weekly. I wouldn't say any less than a week per week. And the funny thing about these podcasts is we're preaching as if we're we know the things.
Yes.
I'm making the Italian hand gesture for some reason. We know all the things. We do all these things. We are so good. It's actually not true. This is actually kind of kicking our asses a little bit because we don't do these things either, and we really should be. And it's
but it's part of human nature, isn't it? We're
not perfect
ideals and goals, and the whole part of it is that we strive for them.
Yeah, I'm making these
we go through runs. We do have a good run of I remember last year anyway. We had a good run of weekly rehearsals for quite a wee while. So. Yeah, and it's also dependent on project. If there's no new music or you've not got any gigs coming up, sometimes you might not see the point in practicing together, which is, it's fair enough, but...
It's nice to keep playing. But,
And you actually find that you play more together, you'll just get more ideas and you'll be more involved in the... in the project, in the band, so. I'm finding that
with writing all these podcast points down, I'm finding how many things I'm guilty of, and it's quite bad. So hopefully I'll take my own advice and do some of the things I've been saying. But weekly rehearsal, say you've got I don't know, say you're writing a new album, you've got together, you've got these songs, having weekly rehearsals to get your new album or your new EP sort of up to gig level. You have to have regular rehearsal because, you know, if you have one a month or whatever, you just, when you come back in the studio, you've forgotten what's happened. Like, what were we doing last time? Oh, I can't remember. And then you spend an hour trying to recall what you did.
Yeah.
If it's regular, you can get a full set organized in like 3 or 4 rehearsals, and then you can go and gig. And with recording, it's a slightly different ballgame. So when coming into the recording studio, there's certain expectations that the engineer will have before you come in. So those are, I'll go over these now because they're rehearsal related. These are things that can be sorted out in the rehearsal. Is what tempo is your song?
Yep.
And does the tempo change, or are you just really bad at keeping time?
Yeah.
Is there a genuine creative decision made? Oh, this song always speeds up when we play it live at the end. Is that a creative decision, or are you just too keen? Are you just
being human and getting excited?
Yeah, and speeding up at the end, because that's the type of stuff you need to sort out. If you make a creative decision, this thing gets faster.
Yeah,
you know, by
it's actually written
good
in.
amount. It's written in as part of the music. Like, this is what happens in this song. Because it's part of the message of the song or whatever. Yeah, fine, that's okay. But if it's just sloppy playing, you need to learn how to play to a click track. So that also comes in with home practice. If you're a drummer especially, you should almost never sit down and practice your drums without listening to a click track. Say you're practicing some groove that you saw online and you really want to practice this groove. You should almost never sit down and practice that groove without having a click track playing in your ears. If it's in 4/4, just set a little 4/4 click at whatever tempo you want and play the thing you're trying to play along to that click track. It should always be there, just ready to go. You can get an app for free on your phone, stick some headphones in and just play to that click. If you're trying to learn how to build up speed on a certain rudiment or a certain drum fill, start slow on your click and then play it and then gradually increase the speed all the time. You should always be playing to a click, because the more you do that, when you're playing in a band and there is no click, then your inner tempo becomes so accurate because you're so used to playing in a regular meter. The amount of times, and this has happened to me as well, I can play to a click okay because I've always practiced to a click. I'm a drummer. But like, even in the last few years, I've seen videos of me playing live and see my tempo is just like wee all up and down. So like every time I see a video, I'm like, oh God. So I'll have to spend like extra attention at gigs in the future to be like, I really need to watch my tempo here.
I mean, my take on that kind of thing is that it's honestly it's good to think about that kind of thing, but especially if it's leading to sloppy playing. But don't get too hung up on it. Like, what's going to happen is that naturally when you perform, we're not automatons that live on, bloody Toyland, and we have emotions and feelings and we feel things, and that's going to come through in the music. And what happens is that when we play music, 9 times out of 10 we do have fun, and part of fun is excitement, and when we get excited we might speed up. So
does your favorite band do it live? No, they don't. They play in time, usually at the same tempo as the record, because they are well practiced.
They're well practiced, exactly.
You don't want to be like
only band that I can think of which is different in that respect is the Ramones. When you have I don't know if you've ever heard like studio recording of the Ramones playing,
yeah.
And then live performances, they'll just count things off as like Blitzkrieg Bob will be like, and then you'll hear a live version. It'll be like, like 4 times as fast or whatever. Like, yeah. So
this happened to, I think it was Nirvana.
Yeah.
It was Butch Vig, the producer, got them in the studio, and Dave Grohl couldn't play in time. Like, it was just like his tempo was up and down and up and down and up, and it just sounded sloppy. So he's like, "You're gonna have to play to a click track," and he was not happy about that. But they stuck the click track in. It gelled the whole band together, and it was just so smooth. I think it was Something in the Way. Is that a different song?
I don't know. Shocker. I used to listen to Nirvana quite a lot, but I'm not very big on my Nirvana. I'm quite basic.
I can't remember what song it was, but it was like, as soon as the click was on, it just sort of, the whole band just had a spine, and it was just all grounded, and it just worked. So the drummer, like, I think there's a quote from him actually, Dave Grohl, like, it doesn't matter how good the band is, if the drummer sucks, the whole band sucks. It's so true.
Yeah.
Because if it's sloppy timing, like every time he plays a drum solo or a drum fill, he slows down or he speeds up, and then everything. But when it all lands on the downbeat, everything's all just a mess. Like, you want it to be consistent all the way through. Now, pulling and pushing in tempo is fine, but pulling and pushing by massive amounts, is sloppy.
That's what that was kind of what I was getting at, is,
you don't want to be a machine, obviously, like a drum machine.
Yeah, don't be a machine, because at the end of the day, we're not machines.
Not yet. What are you talking about? This is like, we're in the Matrix, man. Yeah, conspiracy theories on a Thursday morning.
Conspiracy and philosophy with, two musicians.
So that kind of leads us into what we're going to talk about next week, which is the recording studio. Making sure that. So we'll kind of talk this through as if, right? Imagine we're in a band and we've just done like 6 weeks of rehearsals. We've got 3 songs we want to record. We're going to the studio next week. Now the studio guy, he's been emailing back and forward, and he's like, "So guys, I need to know like the names of your tunes. I need to know the tempo and the time signature." And you're like, "What's a time signature?" Time signature is how many beats are in a bar. So 9 times out of 10, if it's pop rock, it's probably 4/4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And the tempo is just the speed of the song. So work that out in the studio. You can actually sit and go, right, okay, it's kind of this speed. Someone get a phone out, someone get the metronome app, and you can tap on the thing and kind of match the tempo to the song that you've been recording or rehearsing in the studio. You can record it on your phone as well, send that to the studio. That always helps. And it means that when you go into the studio, there's no, again, uncommunicated expectations.
Yep.
Where, that you guys come in and it's like, oh, we need to know the tempo of our own song. Oh, the bassist needs to know the chords. Oh, that's odd.
Should we also tackle what to do if your sound engineer is a total?
Oh yeah,
total weapon, to use that Scottish phrase.
A weapon,
an absolute weapon.
See, the thing with that is that's a common thing, especially in live situations. Having a sound engineer that's just very unhelpful, shall we say. I don't know what it is. They have given us a bad reputation. Bad
kind of
engineers.
Like how bass players, failed guitarists, have given people like me a really bad reputation of turning up late, just getting tattoos, smoking a crap ton of weed, and not knowing how to play the instrument. Yeah, it's really annoying.
Yeah, see, I call them bass players.
Yeah,
they're basically the third guitarist, the worst guitarist in the band, so they were given a bass. right? They're the bass player. But a bassist is a person who just plays bass, loves bass, and actually does well. I call them different. That's how I distinguish between the two. Did I have a bassist in today or a bass player?
Yeah. It's quite it's quite obvious. You can smell them.
You can
smell bass players.
You can smell the BO and the weed. That annoys me so much with the your strings have like 6 months of black dead skin on them, and I couldn't afford 12 quid's worth of D'Addario, tens.
Sorry,
but I've got a lovely new tattoo.
Yeah, I've just remembered the story you told me about somebody who refused to tune their G string because they don't use it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
This is the kind of level we're talking at.
Yeah. So like you're tuning your instrument, E, A, D, and then you're not going to tune the G. Oh, don't even use it, mate. It's just I just rest my finger on it. I'm like, okay, sure. I mean, if you don't use it, it's not going to make much of a difference. But I mean, there is a thing as well that you want the.
I mean, there is also such a thing as 3-stringed basses.
Sure,
it is a thing, but
as well, like tuning strings up
keeps the whole instrument
in tune because it can alter the tension of the neck.
Yep.
It does alter the tension of the neck. It's nice to have the whole instrument in tune. And if you don't use a string in a song, well, that's fine. But if you don't use a string ever, like, come on, use your instrument.
Yeah, exactly.
But it's the whole instrument maintenance thing. Intonation. If people don't know what intonation is if you play an open E on the bottom string of your guitar, and then you run your finger up to the 12th fret and play that, it should also be an E, but an octave higher.
An exact E in the exact same tuning.
If you look at the tuner and if you see that it is extremely flat or extremely sharp, then your intonation is out.
Even just like little increments can make such a difference as well. If it's just a little sharp, it will alter the tuning and the way your guitar sounds.
If it's slightly out, you can get away with it, but I have seen semitones out.
Yes, me too.
And your action's like half an inch. That's where the string is like half an inch from the fretboard.
Mm-hmm.
I've had a few homemade bass guitars and electric guitars where they've made their own Strat or whatever, and the neck is bent and twisted, and
it's just how I like it.
I don't understand. You can get a Squire for like 90 quid.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
Anyway, but that's for another day.
So next week we're going to talk about the recording studio,
what to do,
what to do, what to expect, and
what not to do.
If you've never been before, like what, because no one really tells you. You don't really know what's going to happen when you go into the studio. It's kind of a surprise. The reason I know this is because I'm a recording engineer, and bands that have never been in the studio before, really, they don't know the common practices, and it's always good to be, treat every band as if they've never been in before, so you're extra communication. So this will hopefully help people who don't really know what to expect, because it's not an ordinary thing that you do every day is go into the studio to record. But yeah, get your rehearsals sorted first. You need to know, everybody needs to know the key of the song. Everyone who plays chordy instruments need to know the chords, including bassists. Shocker. It would help the drummer as well, even and the singer.
Yeah, to know the structures of songs.
The structures and the keys. Have it written down on a piece of paper. Even if it's just, those lines and boxes of play this chord for 2 bars, this chord for 2 bars, and then, that's the verse, that's the chorus. The structure, because it just helps everyone to know what's happening. So we'll catch you next week for recording and
what to do and what not to do in the studio.
Bye-bye.
Bye.